Number 5. The Tower of London. The Tower of London has stood strong for over 900 years. In its time, it served as a prison, a royal residence, and even an execution ground. And because of this, it's said to be one of the most haunted places in all of England. Construction of the tower began in 1066, and since then it's seen many faces. As a symbol of power, it's been used by royalty to intimidate those who oppose them, including two wives of Henry VIII, who were sent to the tower to be executed. Anne Boleyn was one of these unfortunate ladies, and she is one of the many ghosts that are said to haunt the grounds today. Visitors have reported hearing her footsteps echoing through the hallways, as well as seeing her apparition appear out of nowhere and then just as quickly disappear. Anne isn't the only spirit that makes regular appearances, though. There's also the ghost of a young boy known only as the Tower Boy. He is said to be the ghost of a young child who died in the 18th century after being locked in a tower as punishment for stealing food. Since his death, he's become one of the most famous ghosts associated with the Tower of London. People claim to see him regularly and hear him running around the top floor, even though there's no logical explanation for these sightings. It's also rumored that the entire east range of the castle is haunted by several apparitions, including those of Lady Jane Grey, Lady Margaret Pole, and Princess Elizabeth. All three women spent their final days in the tower before they were executed. And since then, visitors have reported seeing them wandering around the grounds at night. Some say they can even hear them whispering secrets to one another as they walk. If you want to see these ghosts for yourself, though, you might want to visit the tower at night. That's when the veil between the living and the dead is said to be at its thinnest, making it easier to see the spirits that roam the grounds. 4. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Waverly Hills Sanatorium is located in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was once home to hundreds of people suffering from tuberculosis. The sanatorium opened in 1910 and was in operation until 1961. During that time, over 63,000 patients were admitted, and only 13,000 of them would ever leave alive. These days, Waverly Hills Sanatorium is a popular destination for ghost hunters and those looking to experience a haunted place in person. But what makes this location so special? Well, it's rumored that the building is home to more than 600 ghosts. The sanatorium was built on a hill, and as such, many patients would die before they ever made it inside. They would succumb to the disease while waiting in line for treatment, which meant that the hill became known as Death Hill. When the sanatorium opened, it was hoped that the fresh air and isolation would cure the disease, but this never happened, and many doctors resorted to lobotomies instead. This proved to be even less effective than fresh air, and the sanatorium eventually closed its doors for good in 1961. Even though it has been abandoned for decades, though, it's still said to be haunted by the patients and staff who died there. Some of the most active areas include the operating room where lobotomies were performed, and the basement where patients were kept when they were too sick to move around on their own. Visitors have reported seeing apparitions of patients and staff members, hearing disembodied voices, and feeling unexplained cold spots throughout the building. One of the most famous ghosts is that of a little girl named Charlotte. She is said to be the ghost of a patient who died in the sanatorium in 1928. Her ghost has been seen walking the halls and playing in the old nursery. And some visitors have even heard her laughter echoing through the empty rooms. There have also been reports of shadow figures moving around the building and even interacting with people. In one case, a visitor captured an image of a strange shadow figure standing in front of them as they walked through the sanatorium. When they turned around, though, they saw nothing. With so many stories of paranormal activity, it's no wonder why Waverly Hills Sanatorium is considered one of the most haunted places in America. No. 3. Poveglia Island. Poveglia Island has a long and gruesome history. In the 18th century, it was used as a quarantine zone for ships arriving from plague-ridden areas. The sick were brought to the island and left to die, which is where much of the island's dark reputation comes from. In the 20th century, it was converted into an insane asylum, which was said to be one of the most brutal places in Italy. Patients were subjected to horrific experiments, and many never left alive. Today, the island is uninhabited, but it's said to be haunted by the spirits of those who died there. Some of the most common sights and sounds include disembodied screams, the smell of rotting flesh, and the sound of dragging chains. Some people even claim to have seen full apparitions of former patients and staff members. It has been reported that ghosts can be seen wandering around the old buildings or standing at the edge of the cliffs looking out at the water. In addition to the full apparitions, there are also strange shadow figures that have been spotted moving around the island. These seem to be more malevolent and are often seen interacting with visitors. There have even been reports of physical attacks on visitors, including scratches, bites, and even broken bones. Because of this, many believe that it's best not to stay on the island after dark. There is also a cemetery on Poveglia Island where many of the patients and staff who died there were buried. It is said that the ghosts of those buried here are restless and will do anything to escape their eternal slumber. Many of the graves are old and in disrepair, which makes it easy for the spirits to escape and interact with the living. If you want to learn more about the island's dark past, you can visit the nearby town of Venice and explore the Dog's Palace, where many of the records from Poveglia's days as a quarantine zone and insane asylum are kept. No. 2. Aokigahara. Aokigahara, also known as the Sea of Trees, is located at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. For centuries, it was considered a place of death, and the spirits of those who died there are said to haunt the forest to this day. The legend goes that when the gods created Japan, they left their tools behind in the mountains. When Mount Fuji was formed, it covered the tools and the area became known as the Sea of Trees. It is said that anyone who enters the forest will never come out again, and many people have disappeared in Aokigahara without a trace. Some of the most famous disappearances include those of Naomi Sudo and her boyfriend, as well as filmmaker Masaki Kobayashi and his two assistants. All 5 people vanished without a trace, and their bodies were never recovered. There are also many lesser-known disappearances that have occurred in the forest over the years. Many people have tried to explain away these disappearances as simple accidents, but others believe that there's something more sinister going on in Aokigahara. There have been reports of strange lights and sounds being heard in the forest at night, leading some to believe that there are supernatural forces at work. There are also strange magnetic anomalies in the area that have led some to believe that the forest is a portal to another dimension. Whatever the truth may be, there's no denying that Aokigahara is a truly mysterious place. And if you're ever near Mount Fuji, you might want to stay far away from the Sea of Trees. No. 1. Eastern State Penitentiary. Eastern State Penitentiary is a former prison that operated in Philadelphia from 1829 to 1913. It was one of the first prisons to use solitary confinement as a form of punishment, and it quickly gained a reputation for being one of the most brutal prisons in America. Over the years, many prisoners died at Eastern State, and their spirits are said to haunt the prison to this day. The most famous ghost is that of Al Capone, the infamous mob boss who was imprisoned at Eastern State in the 1930s. It is said that he can often be seen wandering around the prison yard at night, and some visitors have even heard him talking in hushed tones. In addition to Capone, there are many other ghosts that are said to roam the prison. Some are former inmates who died at Eastern State, and others are the guards and administrators who oversaw the prison's brutal operations. No matter who they are, all of the ghosts are said to be angry and violent, and visitors have reported being attacked by them on more than one occasion. One of the most active areas for paranormal activity is the old cell block. Here, visitors have reported hearing screams, footsteps, and even disembodied voices. Some have even seen shadowy figures moving around the cells, but when they turn on the lights, the figures vanish. Another hotspot for paranormal activity is the prison's solitary confinement cells. These cells were designed to be tiny and dark, and they were often used as punishment for minor infractions. Prisoners were kept in these cells for days or even weeks at a time, and many of them lost their minds as a result. It is no surprise then that the ghosts of these prisoners are some of the most disturbed and dangerous ones at Eastern State. If you want to see these ghosts for yourself, you might want to book a night in one of the prison's former cells. Some lucky visitors have been able to capture images of the ghosts on camera, while others have even managed to speak to them directly. No matter how you choose to interact with the ghosts, one thing is for sure, you won't forget your visit to Eastern State Penitentiary anytime soon. Thanks for watching. Would you ever visit any of these places? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. See you next time.